Welcome to West Fargo Public Schools. I'm Beth Slutty. I'm the superintendent for West Fargo, and I have some others joining me today, and I'll have them introduce themselves.
Heather Lees, Public Relations and School Safety.
Dr. Pam, Principal at Cheyenne High School.
Keith Yonke, Chief of Police, West Fargo Police Department.
Alan Bergat, Assistant Secondary Superintendent.
Mark Morris, I'm the SRO at Cheyenne High School.
So with the third administrative lockdown in 7 school days occurring this morning at Cheyenne High School, I want to take this opportunity to publicly share with you the circumstances around these events, as well as educate the public on the steps the district takes to ensure student and staff safety in all our district buildings. Administrative lockdowns are called to allow for first responders to have clear hallways and direct access, as well as to protect the privacy of a student. We walk a fine line during these types of situations, as we want to share enough with the general public to alleviate any fears and dispel rumors, while remaining mindful of the impact on students' right to privacy. On December 12th and December 18th, Cheyenne High School went into an administrative lockdown. A student was suffering from a severe emotional anxiety attack. The event on December 18th required this same student to be transported by ambulance. At no time during either of these 2 separate events were students or staff in danger. Today, December 20th, 2 students got into a fight while transitioning between classes. Following the fight, one of the 2 students had a seizure. Medical personnel were called, which required an administrative lockdown, so halls would be cleared and medical personnel could assist the student quickly. The fight has been turned over to the West Fargo Police Department, is currently being investigated, and charges are pending. The second area I would like to touch on is our district's ability to provide timely messaging to parents. The instant access students have to social media and their phones means that they can push out information immediately once hearing of an announcement of a lockdown or witnessing an event. Media outlets also have an advantage, as they can pick up emergency response requests via a scanner. The district tries to send out messaging to parents as quickly as possible, but is often behind these other sources, as we must wait for the school to actually respond to the event and then to confirm all the facts before sending out messages that would generate more questions than it would alleviate fears. Another factor that has made these situations difficult is the inaccurate information that is shared publicly and on social media. When inaccurate information is shared, is the first thing that people hear about a situation, it makes it more difficult for the school to get the facts out and to have traction within the community. I would now like to clarify the different levels of lockdowns in the terms used. These terms are used by 14 districts that make up the Cass Clay Unified School Response Team. Schools and staff are trained on the terms and they understand what they mean. An administrative lockdown can be enacted in response to many things. A medical emergency that requires the hallways to be cleared for emergency personnel, in response to suspicious activity, or for searches with the K-9 team. The goal is to clear the hallways, provide access, and protect privacy of students. Classroom activities continue during these administrative lockdowns. The lights are not turned off, nor are students asked to hide or barricade in the room. In administrative lockdowns, there is typically no danger to students or staff at any time, especially in buildings as large as West Fargo's administrative lockdowns happen frequently. All 3 of the lockdowns at Cheyenne the past 7 days have been administrative. Lockdowns that are in response to human threats are enacted when an individual is entering the school or already in the school with the intent to do harm. This type of lockdown requires that students evacuate to safety if possible or barricade the room. This is the lockdown most commonly associated with schools, but this type of lockdown is done very infrequently. There have been no human threat lockdowns at Cheyenne High School this school year. I appreciate the community's support in dealing with the struggles that some of our students are facing. Mental health issues and trauma are very real for children and adults, and during the holiday season, we often see an increase in anxiety, depression, and behaviors due to these stressors. Changes in family structure, poverty, addiction, divorce, loss of loved ones, and abuseful or neglectful situations are amplified for some students. There are students in our schools who actually dread winter break because of these factors. Please keep in mind that not every person may be looking forward to a break. West Fargo Public Schools are committed to providing the best possible education while ensuring safety for all of our students and staff. This fall, West Fargo Schools and the West Fargo Police Department conducted 2 public forums dealing with factors that are impeding student safety and overall well-being. We have 2 more scheduled forums this school year, and we encourage our parents and community to become an active partner with us to solve these problems. We will take questions at this time. However, due to student privacy, please respect that we may not be able to answer all of them.
You were just saying that there were 3 administrative lockdowns in the past 7 official days.
School
whatever.
days.
Can you talk a little bit like how many have there been like this school year or in the last year? Do you have that information?
Sure. We do not have that information because administrative lockdowns are the lowest level of response protocol, and administrators we're not required to track them or record because there is no immediate danger to students, and the short amount of time these lockdowns last. Sometimes it could be a student getting sick in a hallway, and we just go into a lockdown to clean that up and get the student to the office, things like that. They might last 5 minutes. So I can't give you an exact number of how many administrative lockdowns we've had in the district.
Okay, sure. And then, did you say there's 14 different types of lockdowns?
There's 14 districts that participate in that Cass Clay Unified School Response Team. And so those districts work together to have common language and have the similar response. And I think either our chief or our coordinator for safety might be able to better answer that.
Well, the question I just had was like,
Yep.
I mean, is this type of, different types of lockdowns, this is something that can be seen in multiple other school districts across the state?
Correct, and the similar language used at least in our unified response group.
Have you guys ever thought about changing that language though? Because I think the word lockdown is a triggering word that's kind of the response that we've been seeing from parents and students.
I appreciate that comment because we did have that conversation. It needs to be a larger conversation with all of the districts that make up the unified response team. But I do understand why parents become anxious. However, the staff and the students do know what those terms mean and are trained. But we will continue to have that conversation because you make up a very good point.
And I think the importance of consistency in
Mhm.
language, so that's why the 14 districts, along with our metro response teams, would have that consistent language.
And I think to be clear too, if this was a threat to any students, we would be very clear in announcing that immediately. And we have very detailed guidelines of how to make sure parents are informed immediately, and we keep informing students and staff as we deal with a situation like that, and we do practice that as well. So it's very clear.
So when a lockdown is announced, the administration will say, okay, like this is an administrative lockdown, or if it's a human threat?
Correct.
And how often does a school do human threat lockdown drills?
We've already done a couple of them at the beginning of the year. We'll probably do a couple more when we start second semesters. We get a lot of new students and transfers, so, yep.
Along with lockdowns, so you're coming over the intercoms. Have you guys also thought about not coming over the intercoms? I understand that it makes it easier for emergency personnel. I completely understand that, and I understand gets everybody out of the way, but is it more problematic coming over the intercom, and Lucy is the reason that the whole school went into lockdown today, then that kind of puts a spotlight on Lucy, if that question makes sense. Is there a way that it could not be broadcast on the intercom?
I'm going to answer that, and then I will let Dr. Cronin respond as well. our schools are very large. When you think about 1,500 students, they're not all in a classroom or in a place where we can reach them and get them the message. So it'd be very difficult, other than just going over the PA and making that announcement.
Yeah, and to be clear, we don't announce who the student is, or
Right.
we just say, this is an administrative lockdown. And oftentimes, as administrators, we might be dealing with it, so we're communicating with our office via a walkie-talkie type situation, and we tell them to put the school in lockdown, administrative lockdown, so that's why we use that term, but then we email teachers out that it's medical or whatever the case might be, and then we'll give updates, you know, we're still in medical lockdown or an administrative lockdown, because we don't want 1,500 students passing in between classes, and, you know, the privacy of the student then is no longer guaranteed.
When the instance happens, that's where I'm wondering if let's say we're in the middle of class just started, then this lockdown needs to happen. Is that something that needs to be broadcast right then, or is it something that would be better to be broadcasted over the intercom closer to when classes?
Again, though, not every student is in a class. So students have opens, students might be just, you know, wandering the halls to work in an FTLA, which is our like flexible learning areas where they're working in groups possibly. So not every student is in a classroom, and that's why we do that.
And can you remind me again, with the schools that have the blue light system, the Cheyenne has?
Yes, we do.
And then is that used on administrative lockdowns as well as
No.
everyone? It's not.
No.
You mentioned having such a big school and the incident between the two students. Is it usual for police to get involved in something like that? Especially given, you know, two students, is it because it was a lockdown that police are involved, or what's the case there?
Had I been present or near the fight, I certainly would have gotten involved and broken the fight up. However, I was not, you know, present at that time. And the school is a large school, therefore I'm not going to be everywhere at one time. But, you know, if I'm around, it's certainly going to get past me, and I will get there in timely manner.
So if not, is the normal protocol next step, police? Just kind of walk me through that. I mean, like, for instance, if I'm in
Oh.
a fight, you know, something.
I can help you. Our staff will break the fight up if whatever adult is there is going to try to break that fight up to protect the students. And in this case, I believe it was staff broke the fight up. You know, kids were separated, and that's when the young lady had the medical. The other girl was already down in the office. So that would be normal. We would, if our SRO is not in the building, if we're pressing charges, then we would involve the police. Otherwise, we've had fights where we've never called the police in because it never got to that level. And hopefully that helps, yeah.
Yep, that's fine.
Does
Okay.
this motivate you to change school security at all?
I believe that our processes in place are why the student was treated so quickly, and the staff were able to react and to get medical personnel to the student as quickly as we were able to. We're always trying to continuously improve. We have training, regular training for our emergency response teams. We have SROs in our secondary buildings. And so change, no, but to continue to improve, to come back and have a conversation, what went well, how could we do better, those kind of conversations. I think our next conversations need to be to, again, be working with our students to help get help rather than taking recording of an incident and laughing about it, that they would seek help, you know, really that our students need to help us keep the school safe as well. So many of our students do that on a regular basis, and that's what makes Cheyenne safe. But we continuously need to educate students and our staff on what we can do.
And we do have a text-to-tip
Yeah.
that students utilize when they see things happening on social media, for example. Obviously, we're not involved in that world all the time, and students will text a tip to the SRO and say, hey, we saw this going down on social media, we think something's going to happen, and he will then call the students down, have conversations, mediate conflict, things like that. So hopefully students will continue to use that text-to-tip, and that's worked many times this year.
I get approached quite often,
Mhm.
and many of these instances are, you know, taken care of prior to them ever becoming in a situation like this. It's just when you have 1,500 kids at a school, situations are going to rise occasionally that we don't find out about in time.
During those open hours and those walking to the FTLAs, where did those students go
the nearest classroom. Yep, and teachers, when they know it's administrative, they will go out in the halls and find those students and invite them in, so they have a place to be.
And I know I think it was last week's lockdown, students were still allowed to go to their next period.
In those situations when we know that there's no safety concerns, we isolated the student, and at that point, we knew we could transfer. We were in the middle of lunches, and so we did, and we just held off on the medical personnel coming in. And then we were still trying to get a hold of people. There was a lot of other pieces involved there. And then once students got to the safe places or places out of the way, then we proceeded with our next steps.
Because that's where the lockdown word came in confusion with some parents and students we talked to, because they're like, well, I could still walk around, so I didn't know
Sure.
if we were on lockdown, so I just didn't know if that was true or not, so.
If there are no further questions,
I just would like to say, though, I do have to say, our parents and our students have tremendous pride in Cheyenne High School, and they know it's a great place to learn, and they feel very safe at our school. And I just want to thank them for all the positive comments they have made and the support they have shown as we've had to deal with this the past 7 days. We've had numerous phone calls, emails, just reaching out and saying that, they're very thankful that we've notified them, and they, think we do a great job. So I just want to thank them as well.
We're also grateful for our resource officers in West Fargo Public PD and the support, the continuous training and help in keeping our schools and students safe. So thank you.
very much, thank you.
And on behalf of the West Fargo Police Department, our partnership with the school district is extremely important, and that's why we have school resource officers in both high schools and both middle schools. It's our job to make sure students, once they're in school, are safe for the day and that they get home safe. And that's why at Cheyenne High School, we have a highly experienced police officer, former SWAT operator, who was there. But not only if an incident arises, he's able to put the call out and we can get multiple officers on scene if needed. But it's our job through our partnership to keep these schools safe, because they are, and that is what we will continue to do into the future to make sure it is a positive learning environment and safe for all of our kids in the West Fargo School District.
Yes, thank you.
Is the lockdown terminology, is that something that's going to be brought up at other school board meetings, or is that something that will be at district meetings?
I think that's a conversation that will happen with the Unified Response Team and communicated through that group and through our training. Thank you.